always starts the same way. A quiet sighting, a blurry photo, a moment that wasn't meant to be noticed, and then suddenly, everyone's talking. Right now, there's a new couple rumor spreading across Hollywood, and it's moving fast. Not because it's been confirmed, but because of how many small details are starting to line up. The same places, the same circles. The kind of timing that doesn't feel random. But here's where it gets interesting. Neither of them has said a word. No denial, no confirmation. Just silence. And in Hollywood, silence doesn't stop a story. It fuels it because sometimes what isn't said tells you more than anything else. What's driving this rumor isn't a single headline. It's the pattern forming underneath it. At the center of the speculation are Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet. Two of the most recognizable names in Hollywood right now. Two careers moving at full speed, and until recently, two people who weren't publicly linked in any romantic way. So why now? It started subtly, the kind of thing most people would ignore at first. Reports of them attending the same private events, being spotted in similar locations within hours of each other. Nothing concrete, nothing undeniable, but just enough to raise eyebrows. Then came the online speculation. Fans began connecting dots, comparing timelines, revisiting past interviews and interactions. And once that process begins, it's almost impossible to stop, because in today's media environment, rumors don't need confirmation to gain momentum. They just need consistency, and this one has it. Both Zendaya and Timothée operate in overlapping circles. Fashion, film, high-profile brand partnerships. They attend the same award shows, collaborate with similar creatives, and move within the same elite industry spaces. So on the surface, their paths crossing isn't unusual, but what's catching attention is how frequently those paths seem to be aligning lately. And more importantly, how quietly there's been no public acknowledgement, no playful hint. Not even a vague comment to redirect the narrative. And that silence is exactly what's making people look closer, because when celebrities want to shut something down, they usually can. A single statement, a quick clarification, even a subtle social media signal. But here, there's none of that, which raises a question: is the silence intentional, or is it simply a decision to stay out of the noise? That distinction matters because sometimes silence is just privacy. And other times, it's strategy. Another layer adding to the speculation is timing. Both have been in the public eye for years, with their personal lives often closely followed. Zendaya, known for maintaining a relatively private but stable public image, has consistently kept her relationships low-key. Timothée, while more open in certain moments, still operates with a level of unpredictability that keeps people guessing. So when two people with that kind of presence suddenly become part of the same rumor cycle, it doesn't feel random. It feels like something shifted. But here's where things get complicated. Hollywood has a long history of pairing names together, sometimes based on real connections, and sometimes based purely on proximity and speculation. Being seen in the same place doesn't mean anything on its own. Neither does sharing professional circles. And yet, when enough small details start aligning, people begin to treat them as something bigger. That's exactly what's happening here. This rumor isn't built on one moment, it's built on accumulation. And that's what makes it powerful, because the more pieces people think they're seeing, the more convincing the overall picture becomes, even if none of those pieces are definitive on their own. At this stage, there's no confirmation, no official statement, no clear evidence, no undeniable proof, just a growing narrative. And in Hollywood, sometimes that's all it takes. As the rumor continues to build, what's becoming more interesting isn't just whether it's true, but how quickly it's taken over the conversation. Because in Hollywood, attention doesn't just follow facts. It follows patterns, emotions, and curiosity. And right now, all three are in play. When names like Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet get linked together, the reaction isn't casual, it's amplified. Both have cultivated strong, loyal audiences. Not just fans of their work, but people who feel connected to their personalities, their style, their choices. So when a rumor connects two figures like that, it instantly becomes bigger than just a relationship story. It becomes a cultural moment. And what makes this particular situation so compelling is how balanced it feels between possibility and uncertainty. There's just enough alignment to make people believe something could be happening, but not enough clarity to confirm anything. That space in between, that's where speculation thrives. You can see it in how quickly conversations spread online. Short clips, side-by-side comparisons, event sightings, each new detail adds another layer. And even when those details are small or indirect, they contribute to a growing narrative that feels increasingly difficult to ignore. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The absence of confirmation hasn't slowed anything down. If anything, it's done the opposite, because when there's no clear answer, people start creating their own. Some interpret the silence as privacy, two individuals choosing not to let the public into their personal lives. Others see it as something more intentional, a quiet way of letting the story exist without directly feeding it. And both interpretations can exist at the same time. That duality is part of what makes Hollywood rumors so powerful. They don't need resolution to stay relevant. In fact, the lack of resolution is often what keeps them alive the longest. There's also a timing element that can't be ignored. Both Zendaya and Timothée are at pivotal points in their careers. Their projects are drawing attention, their public appearances are closely watched, and their influence continues to grow. When something like this surfaces during that kind of visibility, it naturally gains more traction, not because it's confirmed, but because it fits into a moment when people are already paying attention. And in an industry built on visibility, timing can shape perception just as much as reality. But stepping back from the speculation, there's a bigger pattern here. Hollywood has always blurred the line between personal life and public narrative. Relationships, real or rumored, often become part of a larger story that audiences follow, interpret, and sometimes even reshape. And with social media accelerating everything, that process happens faster than ever. A single sighting can turn into a global conversation within hours. A moment can become a narrative, and a narrative can start to feel like truth. That doesn't mean it is truth, but it shows how powerful perception can be. So where does that leave this rumor? Right now, exactly where it started, unconfirmed but impossible to ignore. There's no official statement, no clear acknowledgement, no definitive proof, just a story that keeps growing every time someone looks a little closer. And maybe that's the real reason it's taking over Hollywood, not because it's been revealed, but because it hasn't. Because in a world where everything is constantly shared, explained and clarified, something that remains uncertain feels rare. It creates intrigue, it creates discussion, and most importantly, it keeps people watching. Whether this turns out to be something real or just another moment of speculation, the impact is already there. It's a reminder of how quickly attention moves, how easily narratives form, and how, sometimes, the biggest stories are the ones that are never fully confirmed. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into the stories everyone's talking about, but no one fully understands, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who follows Hollywood trends, and subscribe to the channel, because the next rumor might not just take over the internet, it might reveal something no one saw coming.